So spare me the bullshit about constitutional rights.
Will the gentleman yield?
No, I will not yield, and I'm not going to yield for my entire 5 minutes, so don't ask again. Spare me the bullshit. Constitutional rights. Constitutional rights. Bullshit. Constitutional rights. Bullshit. Constitutional bullshit. Constitutional bullshit.
It's unbelievable, folks. What are the HTF Masters up to? What are they doing? What are they thinking? Aren't you glad you are a prepper? Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel, what I think to be one of the premier channels on YouTube, on the private side of the internet. In fact, if you're watching live, and you know if you're live, you're here on subscribestar.com or you're at the one and only thepreparedmind.club. This is our channel, our world, folks. The world of fact, the world of intellect, the world of thinking, the world of rational common sense, for Pete's sake, not for the rest of the world, folks. They're in some sort of alternate universe where the Constitution doesn't matter. Thank you, Mr. T, for that great intro from a congressman, obviously a socialist Democrat, who doesn't give a shit about the Constitution. Don't give me your constitutional BS. Bah, 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 bah. Folks, get this, right? Let's kick it off. Oh, by the way, you guys get your Q&A live, question and answer. If you're on the preparedmind.club, you've gone there to get your food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense items, as well as help formulate a plan, right? Oh, good thing aren't you glad you're a prepper? I have never been more pleased at being a prepper, but not because I think we're so brilliant, but because the leftists up in Washington, D.C., that way, those a-holes are destroying the world as fast as they can. And it ain't fast enough for them, folks, so they're going to go even faster. Now, let me calm down a little bit. I think I've had a little too much coffee today. Breathe in, breathe out. Joe Biden is going to deliver a huge speech, supposedly, right? A huge speech in Somerset, douchebag, New England. Okay. And guess what? 20 people show up. He's going to deliver, supposedly, he was going to deliver a climate crisis emergency mandate, blah, and they passed it off. They're like, no, he's not going to tell us about the national emergency based on the climate, not today. Now, listen, if there's an emergency, it's happening right now. Emergencies must be dealt with immediately. That's why it's an emergency. When was the last time you had an emergency and you went, yeah, I'll deal with that next week? Yeah, we got an emergency. I'm going to think about it a little more. This is the President of the United States, right? And he has an entire team of experts in the White House. And they have an entire team of experts they use. And they use, folks, think tanks, corporations, organizations that do all kinds of thinking all day long. And then they give it to the people in the White House who give it to the president to deal with the emergency. What emergency? What emergency? We'll get to it tomorrow. Well, yeah, only 20 people showed up to listen to the jackass in chief. And he is the jackass in chief. He's a Democrat. Their party symbol is a jackass. Is anybody surprised? Unfreaking believable. He really got 81 million votes. Does anyone doubt that at this point? He is so popular, 20 freaking people showed up to listen to his huge climate change speech. Now, when you have an emergency, you don't fly somewhere else. You address the nation from the White House, from the Oval Office even. If it's a freaking emergency. By the way, he gave his blah, blah, blah speech. And did he say he has cancer or something? I mean, what the hell is that all about? Does the president have cancer? Well, Biden is going to use his executive powers to, quote, combat global climate crisis. And what's the reasoning behind this? Congress is not acting as it should. This is an emergency. What emergency? He hasn't announced the climate emergency. He hasn't given that order, that speech. But apparently, folks, something's going on out there that's so bad that Congress should be taking action. Now, earlier I posted a picture of Plymouth Rock, not under 5 feet of water like you would expect if the polar ice caps are melting and polar bears are drowning and very large overweight Americans are swimming in the ocean, raising the levels. It's not happening. So what is this climate emergency? Anyways, let me talk about the Constitution. It's very clear, folks, very clear. The Congress shall make the laws. The president shall execute the laws by signing and then carrying them out. The Supreme Court will determine if laws are constitutional or unconstitutional, or the application of laws are constitutional or unconstitutional. Constitution is very clear. But if we listen to Congressman Asswipe, he'd say, don't give me your constitutional bullshit. Keep your constitutional bullshit in your blah, 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 blah. Since Congress won't do things, Biden is going to use his supreme executive power, wielding, right? Supreme executive power. What the fuck is going on? What climate crisis is there? I was just outside today. Got a little bit of sunshine, did a whole lot of sweating. I didn't see any constitutional negating crisis. Once again, folks, understand this. The government has determined over years of abuse that the way to do whatever the fuck they want is to declare an emergency. If there's an emergency, we can ignore the Constitution. That is the route Biden is taking. That is his excuse, folks. Congress isn't doing anything. And it says right there in the Constitution, if Congress doesn't go fast enough to make the retard in chief happy, then he has the right to do whatever the fuck he wants. Wait a minute. Wait a moment. That's not true. The Constitution grants no such authority to the president. None whatsoever. These people are running roughshod over our rights. They're running roughshod over the Constitution, and it tells me they need to be removed. Now, on top of that, Rand Paul said the Senate just rejected my attempt to reaffirm the Constitution. That's right, folks. Senator Rand Paul, a U.S. senator, Dr. Rand Paul warned yesterday, that the Senate rejected his efforts. And he's shocked. I'm not shocked that the Senate wouldn't reaffirm the Constitution as far as declarations of war go. And he noted that NATO does not have the authority to supersede Congress in the United States. It doesn't. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say a foreign body has the right to tell the United States to go to war. Right? Unbelievable what is going on, folks. Constitution, what's that? Understand, folks. The masterminds, the masters of the universe, the masters of the planet, the Illuminati, they don't care about our Constitution. To them, it's an obstacle. It's an impediment to them getting their wishes, and they hate the Constitution. Aren't you glad you're a prepper? Well, you ought to be, folks, because you know the Constitution, you know the Declaration of Independence. You know your Bill of Rights. You know that we, the people, are supposed to be sovereign. And we're seeing a faster and faster move. Now, a lot of people think Biden, he's out of there. Before this coming midterm election in November, Biden is going to slip on a banana peel. He's going to resign. He's losing his freaking marbles. Can't read a teleprompter, shaking hands with invisible rabbits and being directed by the Easter Bunny on which way to step. The world laughs at him as he craps his pants in front of royalty. nobility, and other world leaders. He gets crapped on flies all the way around to the other side of the planet to beg for oil from a nation we've protected for decades. And they basically go, see you, Biden. And that's our leader, folks, who comes back here, right? Putin, Vladimir Putin, bad guy Putin, goes all the way to Iran, meets with the supreme leader of Iran in Tehran. Great job, Brandon. Drive our enemies so far that they start cooperating with each other. That's what they've done, folks. They've pissed off Putin and hurt him, well, hurt his feelings. He's now cooperating more with China and Iran than ever, and India and Brazil and many other countries beside. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates. How many other countries are going to be part of the new Russian alliance? Do we have World War III coming? Or do we have something else coming? You could probably tell I'm just a tad aggravated with these people. Once again, seeing what they're doing, can we predict what is coming? I can't predict how exactly they're going to finally go, the Constitution, let's just get rid of that thing. It's silly. It's 250 years old now. We don't need that thing. I'm sorry, the Declaration of Independence is almost 250 years old. Unbelievable. Hey, they turned on the Nord Stream pipeline ahead of time. Yay! Everyone in Europe's happy. We're getting gas. And then Russia says, hey, you hold off on that celebration there, partner. Putin says Russia, well, they're going to honor their gas commitment, but, they've already declared force majeure, which means, hey, all bets are off. Literally, all bets are off. And they could drop the flow of gas into Europe to just 20% of capacity. Hey, if we don't have more, if the pumps don't work, if the system's slow, you get 20%. Hey, we're going to honor stuff. It's just not the way you want, not as much as you want. Good job, NATO. Good job, Brandon. Way to go, Boris Johnson. Way to go, European Union. Way to really screw up the entire system. Do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, folks? We've been told you're on your own. Literally, you're on your own. Now, well, we don't like you, Putin. We don't like what you've done. So guess what? We're going to put on some more sanctions on the shipment of Russian oil. What makes them think? What makes them think that they can stop Putin? I keep asking this question. Why do they keep poking the Russian bear? In fact, I think in real life, a helicopter or plane crashed and some sports person and some celebrity got eaten by a Russian bear. Literally. I mean, how tragic on the one hand, but at the same time, how prophetic. How prophetic is that? Anyways, they're going to put more sanctions on Russian oil deliveries. So tanker companies are rushing to get Russian oil on their ships ahead of the sanctions so they can say, hey, we already had this deal nailed down. Don't worry, folks. Companies like, Maersk and other big, giant international corporations, guess what they'll do? Guess what they can do? They can spin off a corporation. They could say, it's now a Chinese corporation. We now have a Chinese corporation. And we just gave it 24 oil tankers. It is no longer under European Union, United States sanction control. It is now out of your jurisdiction. You have no authority to say anything about it. They can sell tankers. They can create new corporations. Folks, the globalists are losing their mind. They wanted this international globalism so they could step away and go, your rules don't apply. And we're globalists. We don't care about your little country and what you want. We're going to do whatever the hell we want. We're globalist corporations. Well, guess what, folks? The Russians, the Chinese, they seem to figure that out too. Well, fuck it, then we'll do what we want as well. We're international corporations. So the rich are going to continue to get rich, and you are going to continue to pay the price for it. And me too, me too. All of us little plebes, all of us little peeps. Don't make a peep, don't squeak, don't bitch, don't complain, because you have no say in this. Because, well, there's an emergency. We got a war, folks. It's coming home to roost. All the chickens are coming home to roost. Inflation. How do you like that 20% inflation on your food, 30% inflation on your food, 100% inflation on your fuel bill? Don't worry, there's nothing they can do about it to fix it. Yeah, don't worry, they've got us all screwed over. I need a drink. I need a big drink. Where is that? I'm telling you. Give me some Captain here. Captain Tea. That's what this is. Woo! On top of that, folks, I get to wake up tomorrow. Do videos with you guys, and then I'm going to go to the dentist. When they say I've got some sort of jacked up tooth. And so they're like, we're going to work on your face. And I'm like, great. I can't wait to not afford to be able to pay that fucking bill. Hopefully there's not a 50% to 100% inflation on getting a filling removed and some tooth repairs. In fact, a lot of people have made it clear lately that they're getting operations. They're doing all they can to get themselves medically in tip-top shape before the next giant government emergency comes along. Unbelievable. Now, the people have had enough. Guess what? In the Netherlands, they're still rejecting the government, and the farmers are still blocking down that country. And now, folks, the Dutch farmers are preparing a monetary fight with their government. They're saying no more government overreach, control, mandates, destruction. Interestingly, they're trying to gain financial freedom using, guess what? Wait for it. Cryptocurrency. Bitcoin, that kind of stuff. The problem here is that governments don't like competition when it comes to control and mandates, especially in Europe, where they're pretty convinced that government has all the authority it needs to do whatever the fuck it wants. And everybody has to line up and kiss their rosy ass cheeks. So leaving the central bank government control system known as money, it's a form of warfare that the Dutch farmers are declaring. And don't think for a second that the government is going to allow it. The government didn't allow truckers to shut down Canada. Nope. They called in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and trampled an old lady. Not to mention they stole people's firewood, stole their fuel, sabotaged their fuel, arrested people, froze their bank accounts, stole their money, fired them from their jobs, ruined their lives. Trudeau, right? Now, am I telling anyone to commit acts of insurrection or violence or do things harmful and dangerous? No. Am I glamorizing conflict, war? And no, I'm not doing any of that. We're just having a talk. We're having an incredible talk about what these jackasses are doing, right? What are the globalist SHTF Masters up to now? They're up to here, folks, or rather, the people are up to here with the globalist antics and bullshit. So we had this comment, question, conversation. Oh, we meaning Chris P. Bacon and I today. Wednesday is our big meeting day where we sit back and we really go over a lot of things. And I do that with many people, but today it was Chris P. Bacon. And one of the things was, how far can these globalists push people? Well, we've seen, folks, that they can't push as far as they thought. They really pushed the hell out of everyone by scaring them with cerveza bug, and you're all going to die. Now get your Jim Jones juice, or we're going to destroy your life financially. You won't be able to shop, buy, or go anywhere. Well, now we're going to shut down your farming. Now we're going to shut down your fuel. Now we're going to shut down your transportation. Now you're going to pay 4 times as much for your energy in Europe. Or is it 8 times? But people have had enough. They know it's the bankers. They know it's the politicians. And they know it's, you got it. They know it's the uber wealthy aristocrats. The globalists, folks. We know who they are. We know their faces. We know their names. And we know where they live. Well, had a bit of a little baby power outage. It could get worse. The people are not tolerating this shit. Now, in this morning's video, I talked about the Taliban in Afghanistan joining the Taliban in Pakistan, and they've got $85 billion worth of military equipment, gear, supplies, rockets, drones, helicopters, tanks, transport, assault weapons. They've got all of this stuff. And guess what? They can just drive on over to Pakistan and help overthrow that government. The people have had enough, folks, and the wackos are looking at this as a prime opportunity to take over nations. And Pakistan, folks, is a nuclear weapon controlling nation. They have nuclear power plants and they have nuclear weapons. That cannot be allowed. They don't want to allow Iran to develop their own nuclear weapons. Well, guess what? Pakistan already has them. If they start taking over that country, what happens to the nukes? Do we go in there and take them away from them? Does Putin go in there and take them away from them? Or do we allow a bunch of radical, religious, zealot fruitcakes to control nuclear weapons? China ought to be scared to death. These people are freaking crazy. Now, China, radical? Sure. China's pretty radical, right? But is China absolutely out of their minds fanatical? I hope to God not. Hope to God not. Are you prepared in case there's a problem? Right. Well, we've got all of this global stuff I just talked about. What is the left in this country doing? They're screaming and yelling, folks, about Roe v. Wade. That's their number one thing. And get this, folks. Jim Harbaugh, right? Jim Harbaugh. You guys remember that guy? He was a quarterback for the Bears, right? But he is now the University of Michigan football head coach at the University of Michigan. Well, the left wants him fired. For what, you say? Because he's a devout Catholic and he shared his own personal opinion. And he came out and he said a good one. He says, quote, I believe in having the courage to let the unborn be born. Is that so bad? Did he say something naughty? Right? What is so bad about saying, I believe in having the courage to let the unborn be born? Well, basically, he's calling the leftists a bunch of uncourageous, cowardly types. And he can't say that. He can't say that. Fire him, they say. He's a public employee. Fire his ass. Cancel him, say the leftist socialists. No opinion is allowed, folks, unless it agrees with the left. And that's what they're worried about. That's the just driving focus is on get rid of assault weapons in America. Not going to happen. See this guy right here? See this guy? Once wore the United States Marine Corps uniform. Always been a red-blooded, Constitution-loving, freedom-loving American. You will not take mine. You won't take a single round of ammunition. No siree. I don't give that stuff out unless it gets squirted out of the freedom end of cold blue steel. Not happening. This is my country, Jack. It's your country too, folks. I hope you realize what they're up to. The world is crashing around us, and these idiots want to take your guns. Why? Joe Biden wants to declare a national emergency over the climate. What is he, chicken frickin' little now? Oh, man. Anyways, if you're here on the preparedmind.club or subscribestar.com and you're a premium member, in 5 minutes, it's going to be your turn to ask me some questions. Bring up your topics. Talk about things that are important to you. Ideas, concepts, persons, places, events, predictions, forecasts, whatever you got, you get your questions in and we're going to talk about it. That's why I think this show is so good, as it empowers the viewers to participate in an international conversation. And we get thousands of people, folks. Thousands of people on every video. Thousands of people live on Sunday Night Live. They come in, they go, they come in, they go. People stop by and leave. And in fact, this weekend, Sunday Night Live, we're going to have a special treat for you. A very unusual, never been done before special treat. Enough said, say no more. But this is a place where you, the people, can come and talk and vent and let out your opinion. And folks, there's more people listening to what you say when you do that than listen to Joe Biden. Joe Biden, the president of the United States, gets 20 people to show up. 20 people to show up. Biden is getting ready to purge anyone who isn't fully Jim Jones juiced with the non-FDA approved Jim Jones juice. If you haven't had that, you are out of the military. Biden is set to purge 27.5% of the Army, or maybe more. Could it be 30%, 35%? I don't know. Just got to go with the news as it comes out. Biden is getting set to purge the military. Why? What are they doing to the military? They're trying to purge people who believe in freedom and liberty. Government, you want to tell the Army or the Marine Corps to go and kill the enemies of freedom and liberty? Yeah, that's what they're there for. To kill people and blow things up. Not to give their body over to science fiction. Unbelievable. What they're doing right in front of us, folks, the world. Biden needs to be impeached. Congress needs to be kicked out. That's how bad things are. That is exactly how bad things are. Unbelievable. On top of that, folks, the Associated Press reports that there's a shortfall in new recruits. That is, people aren't enlisting to join the military. As much as they want a bunch of high heel wearing, fishnet wearing, lipstick sporting, weenie tucking LGBs, let's go Brandon crowd. They want to build the military on that. And people aren't joining. They're not. And the good men and women who are in the military, they're getting booted out and they can't replace them. He's weakening the military to the extreme, folks, to a dangerous extreme. While the Taliban and other wackos are increasing their strength and their desire to use that strength against weak nations. And who's weakening the nations? Once again, the HTF Masters, the Illuminati types, these globalist scum. They're the ones, folks, who are weakening everything. Everything. We can't even control our own country, you and I. We know what the rules are. Protect the borders, right? Deliver the mail. Protect people from violence. I'm not going to Uvalde, Texas. Not when 375 cops will stand around and let one lunatic punk kill kids. Unbelievable. And I think I stand corrected in that the 22-year-old civilian man took out a would-be mass murderer who brought an AR-15 and magazines full of ammo to a mall to kill a bunch of hungry people. Took him out at, I believe, 40 yards. Right, 40 yards. And I think it was a headshot. think he got him with the headshot. I heard that he was domed. And I thought, well, is that just someone using that phrase, or did he actually get him with a headshot? We aren't getting the details. I want to see the video. Are you telling me at a shopping mall that there aren't cameras on every store, everywhere along the shopping mall, where security and surveillance is keeping an eye on things? It's all part of the process now, folks. Security and safety, all that. The fight is on, folks, for control of this country. I know I'm going a little bit long. Sorry about that. I get excited on days like this, right? Arizona is having a huge issue with their elections. The Arizona GOP finally censored the Arizona House Speaker for being a scumbag, carpetbagging turncoat, and is calling to expel him permanently from office. I hope so. Get rid of these scumbags in states and scumbags in DC. They're not doing their job of protecting our border. We're being invaded, folks. And we can't even say who it is that's doing it. Are we being invaded by Mexicans, Central Americans, Middle Easterners, anti-American types, American-hating types, people that would agree and love people like, right, the Jihad Squad, AOC, and Ilhan Omar. And I want to remind everyone of this. Josh Hawley raised his fist and AOC threw a fit. How dare he raise his fist, right? He should be forced to resign for raising his fist at a protest. And then she raises her fist, right, during her fake handcuff stunt. You raise your fist, that's a sign of an insurrection. Well, what is it when they do it? Oh, it's a sign of power. I've had it with these frickin' people, folks. I really have. I've had it with these fruitcakes, these lunatics, these morons. Let's do this. Let's get to your questions.
Are you ready?
I mean, seriously, am I too radical today? Am I too loud? Am I too crazy? I feel like it, folks. I feel like I'm crazy like a fox. Now, the left is doing everything they can to yell and shout everyone down. They want to intimidate. They want to be very loud to intimidate you, and you're not allowed to respond. You're not allowed to respond. You can't be like Jim Harbaugh and say, I think we should have the courage to let babies be born. I mean, it's not like he came out and said anything directly about Roe v. Wade. It's not like he made a political statement. He's talking about life. They don't like that. We need to intimidate people, intimidate everyone, including the Supreme Court justices.
I worry it could begin to look like intimidation when it's at someone's doorstep. I'm someone.
It's so funny. So does what Alito wrote. Looks the same way to me. It looks like intimidation.
Well,
and yeah, it's kind of the same thing. But it also shows Alito what it feels like to lose your freedom of choice. He cannot leave the house easily, so maybe that's a good lesson for them. Intimidation. He cannot leave the house. Cannot leave the house. Cannot leave the house. It's a good lesson. It's a good lesson. It's a good lesson for them. To lose your freedom. It's a good lesson for them.
Obey.
It's kind of the same thing.
Kind of the same thing. Intimidate them. We start intimidating them. Well, the FBI will show up at your house, folks. That's right. All right, let's get to your questions if we shall. It is hump day. It's Wednesday. And I know you guys want to talk about some shit. We got Doing Stuff with Nikki, one of my all-time favorites. She's... All right, Nikki, you're slaying me. She says a whole lot of people need a spanking. It's getting out of control. Folks, the last thing you're ever going to want to see is Nikki ready to start whooping on some people. She may only weigh $105 wet, but she is a mean little Well, let's call her a Tasmanian devil. She is a firecracker. Thank you, Nikki, for that. I really needed to see that. Mental images, right? Mental images. A whole lot of people need a beating and a half. Now, Latin American preparedness says climate change agenda is to shut down energy by banning all oil drilling, all export of fossil fuels, and investing in the infrastructure. The entire country will be destroyed. How much will temperature drop? Well, I'll tell you what, folks. After living in extreme Northern California my whole life, with the exception of, well, traveling around the country for business and being a jarhead, otherwise I've lived in California, Northern California. And until I left for the RMZ, I was in extreme Northern California. I'll tell you what, it was freaking cold. We're talking cold. Like, how would you like to spend 2 weeks in 1 year, folks? 2 weeks. The cold was -7 degrees Fahrenheit, and the warm for those days was +7 degrees Fahrenheit. It was cold. I spilled coffee on my steering wheel in my truck, and it froze instantly to the steering wheel. It's cold. I don't think we need the temperature to drop. That's why I now live down here in the South, because I've had enough cold. It could get a couple of degrees hotter and it wouldn't scare me or hurt me a bit. Now, climate change agenda, you bet they have an agenda, and that's what it is. Is it based on science? They've had Al Gore has been in office since 1992 as the vice president, and he's been touting this climate change bullshit. 1989, I believe it was 1989 that Prince Charles said, we've got less than 10 years or we're all going to die. And that was 20 plus years ago. What? Nothing has changed. But they're screaming there's a crisis. Climate crisis. Where? Show it to me. They're just totally ignoring the science. Science be damned. Just listen to us. We're the politicians. We're the HTF Masters of the universe. There's a crisis, damn it. And they just want to skip the whole proving it thing, kind of like Cerveza bug. Let's just skip the whole proving that it's as dangerous as they say and just move right to huddle in your homes in fear. So they're going to fix the world by banning oil drilling. They're going to all export of fossil fuels and investing in infrastructure. Now, we do need to invest in the infrastructure. I agree. I don't like breathing exhaust fumes off of cars. I don't like breathing smoke out of a chimney. I don't like that. I mean, who the fuck really likes that? But it's been part of our human existence for, I don't know, how long have humans been around? Well, pretty much for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And we've burned wood, lived in caves, lived in homes, and burned wood, burned coal, burned wood, burned coal, and inhaled stuff. And we've gotten, well, for the past thousands and thousands of years, issues with breathing, lung cancer, etc. And I don't like it, but it's always been part of the need for energy, whether that energy provides heat, electricity, moves your car around. We need energy. These idiots, folks, are trying to shut down our energy production before giving us a viable alternative way to do things. I was talking to Crispy Bacon today, and I said, you know, the big green monster, my truck, the F350 turbo diesel, got on average, well, on the highway, 16 miles per gallon or more. That is 5 tons, 10,000 pounds rolling down the highway. And 1 gallon could move it 16 or more miles. Now, there were a few times, folks, where I tried pushing that beast on flat ground, on asphalt, and it took all I had. And I'm a big frickin' dude, right? I'm the size of a fricking lineman or a large linebacker in the NFL. And I've competed in strongman contests and won. No steroids, just a big dude. And I could barely move that truck on flat ground. Move it 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet and go, oh man, that's killing me. And to think that 1 gallon of diesel fuel You divide it up 17 different ways, and it only took that much out of the gallon, right? Little skinny sliver out of like a milk jug. That would go a mile. I couldn't go 20 feet, much less 5,200 feet a mile. That's energy. It's very powerful, very condensed. And look at the work it does. It'll move that giant truck. It'll move a little car 30 or 40 miles, right? It'll move one of these hybrids 60 miles. They want to take that away from us. Well, how are we going to get to work? How are we going to perform work if they just take it all away? Well, we're going to have electric vehicles. This was incredible, folks. Butt gagger. The secretary, he should be wearing his high heels and his fishnet stockings if he's going to be the secretary of transportation. This idiot goes in front of Congress and says he's astonished that people, quote, seem to really struggle to let go. People are struggling to let go of their gas-powered vehicles in favor of $65,000 electric vehicles. Folks, I think Teslas are closer to $80,000. Well, even if we wanted to, we don't have the industrial capacity to produce electric vehicles. They don't have a plan in place to produce that many electric vehicles. There's not enough lithium for the batteries to make the replacement electric vehicles that they want. Not to mention, we don't have the power, the electrical productive capacity and infrastructure to create and deliver that electricity that they want us to put in our electric powered vehicles that they want us to replace with our gas vehicles. That's what it's killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. Butt gigger. Now, I just want to bring this up. Apart from just going, really? I want to say, really? They live in a fantasy world where they say men can get pregnant. They live in a fantasy world where you can just say, I'm another person. I'm another gender. I am now a woman, and you must accept it, and you must call me by my pronoun. That's the fantasy world they live in. The fantasy world where they go to Vladimir Putin and they say, Vladimir Putin, you're a bad guy. We're now sanctioning you. We just put a force field around you. You can't move or do anything. You need to now cry like a little girl and come beg us for forgiveness. And Putin's like, what fucking fantasy planet are you coming from? It's not just Fantasy Island. You guys have Fantasy Planet where you can just make shit up and people are supposed to believe it and they have to accept it. No, sorry, not doing it. He's astonished. I'm fucking shocked that he's astonished, that they're that stupid. Why don't you go chest feed a couple hundred, monkeys or something and see how that feels? It's just, rant. It's rant time. Who's next, Jolene? Who's next? Who is next? We got Yankee Watchdog. He says if Potato Head, meaning Potato Head Joe, goes to Iran, they can keep him. Maybe we can charge them $1 trillion to take him back. What Yankee Watchdog is referring to is over the next, 5 or 7 years, they want to give Iran $1 trillion. They want to give them a big old lump sum and then some monthly or yearly payments or something. Please don't make any nuclear bombs, right? That's what we're paying them $1 trillion to not make nuclear bombs. There's so many more intelligent ways, folks, to deal with things. There really is. There's really a lot better ways to deal with things. But this is the country we have. Are you ready for this? Oh, by the way, share this video, share the internet. If you're on YouTube, share it. That internet address, get it out there. Thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. Share everything. Wake up, America. Wake up the world. Get prepared. Okay, now, you ready for this? We can't deal with Iran. Folks, the CIA director came out and issued a warning to the agency. Look out. We found a noose near the CIA Central Intelligence Agency facility in Virginia. Langley, Virginia is on lockdown, folks, because they found a noose. So the international power organization, the CIA, that topples regimes, overthrows governments, assassinates opposition leaders, and installs puppets in seats of power. It is so scared of a fucking rope that was looped and tied into a shape that looks like a noose. Oh my God. God save us all, in fact. I'm glad the CIA is on the top of this case, folks. Maybe they can get Bubba Wallace and his NASCAR team of Scooby-Doo mystery solvers on this one. And hell, why not get Jussie Smollett? He knows a good noose and a good lie when he sees one. And let's mobilize the FBI too, because we found a rope that could have been a noose. Apparently, folks, they are the real Crime Stoppers. Well, unless it's crime being committed, causing billions of dollars in riot damage, done by communist idiots, funded by George Soros. Why this, folks? Why now? Nothing is ever a coincidence, ever. The CIA and a noose, while we're giving $1 trillion to Iran. What if Iranian spies slip in this country, buy hundreds of feet of rope and make nooses and hang them on the doorknobs of people around the country? Can you imagine the shock, the terror? Oh no, not a rope tied in a loop. Let me calm back down. East Texas country boy checks in. He says, remember when Trump went to Russia and Saudi Arabia to have them cut production because the bottom was falling out of oil prices? Then the buffoon screws it up with his policies. That's right, folks. The United States of America was an oil-producing positive country. I really don't like the fact that we take American oil and sell it overseas, and then we buy overseas oil for America. Why don't we just drill our own oil, use our own oil, and tell the rest of the world to kiss our ass? That was essentially the plan that we had with Trump, right? And they were going to bring down cheap Canadian oil, and yeah, it was great. Unbelievable. They have all these shenanigans. A lot of people don't realize that our American oil was being shipped over, and our liquid natural gas, our energy is being shipped abroad. We're starting to learn, though, right? You know that we're taking our strategic oil reserves and selling them. Literally, folks, selling them to a Chinese oil company that, yes, it's true, Hunter Biden still controls, owns, etc. Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable that they want to play this game with us. Unbelievable. Where do we go next? Oh, by the way, Greg Madera has a question. Can Biden be stopped, and what can we do? Yes, Biden can be stopped. We have serious problems. Number one, let's go with this. Look at it, Greg. The Washington Post writer blames Putin's plunge on negative media coverage. What? Yeah, he's very unpopular. He's also losing his frickin' marbles. He's losing his marbles. What can we do? He needs to be removed from office. He is committed, as far as I'm concerned, treason. He has harmed the American people. He has violated the Constitution. He's out of his mind, idiotic, stupid. He is a madman in Washington, D.C., and he's claiming special executive powers because Congress isn't doing what he wants. He needs to be removed from power. This November, folks, we should have a Republican Congress. We should have both the Senate and the House of Representatives, and he needs to be impeached, and then he needs to be indicted, and then convicted and removed from office. It came out today, just today, Another release off of Hunter's computer. Another release, folks. Hunter Biden's computer. Kenakoa, whoever the hell that is, has found something incredible. He recovered a text message that should really lead to the removal, the absolute embarrassment and exposure of President Biden. He should be removed from office. What is this all about? Hunter Biden sent a message and was talking about what's going on, having to do with China, the United States, oil and gas assets inside Russia and China, and dad's running for president. It's incredible, folks. If you're on the preparedmind.club or Subscribestar, look for the article. Just go out there, just type in this. Just go to any search engine and type in this. Kanekoa hits pay dirt. Or type in recovered text message should lead to Joe Biden's impeachment and Hunter Biden's immediate arrest. He is not fit for presidency. He's not fit as a candidate. He's certainly not fit as a president. And since taking the oath of office, he has done nothing but run the country into the ground. We are in a crisis. We have a national emergency, and it is the presidency, and it is the Democrat Party. Right? Representative Troy Nehls went after Pete Buttigieg on Biden's mental health. That's right, folks. You got someone from the president's cabinet. The question is his fitness for being president. And I want to ask, is the 25th Amendment invocation coming by a Republican congressman or a Republican Congress? I sure hope so, folks. Understand this, right? He shakes hands with ghosts or invisible bunnies, and he takes orders from the Easter Bunny. Do we need this guy in charge of our nuclear weapons, our military? Look what he's doing to the military. The HTF Masters are happy to have Biden in there destroying our country. Right? Now, Congressman Nehls reminded Buttigieg that he, Petey Buttigieg, little Peter, once questioned President Trump's mental fitness. So why isn't he questioning Joe Biden, who can't say a word, right? He can't string a couple sentences together. He doesn't make any damn sense. This is the world we live in, folks. Unbelievable. And by the way, I really hope you all enjoyed the gold heist video that I did this morning having to do with Ukraine's gold. I looked into it a lot more between then and now, having made that video. And it's not 3,000 tons of gold that they have. It's 3,200 tons of gold. And they started mining it back in 2011. And this gold mine is not in the Donbass or Donetsk or Luhansk sector. It's way over on the western edge, the edge that is still controlled by Ukraine and Volodymyr Zelensky and controlled through the capital in Kiev. There is a reason they're in Ukraine, folks, and they want to stay there. 3,000 tons of gold, 1/3 of what the United States government is purported to have in Fort Knox. They want to get that gold out of there. They don't want to give up on Ukraine, and they'll continue to pillage and pilfer that country. Who do we have next, Jolene? What do we have going on? We got Uman. He says, prepare to be disappointed when we get a Republican Congress. Just saying. Headline will read, Republicans were so confident in a red wave that they didn't bother to turn out to vote and Democrats hold on with record midterm voter turnout. Well, I can see that headline happening, but I'm going to be on the optimistic side. What my fear is not the Republicans taking back Congress. My fear is Republicans winning Congress back and doing nothing with it because they're so used to being losers and giving away everything and crying about it. Woohoo, we don't have any power. We never that, right? Once they have authority and control of Congress, are they going to do anything with that power? Now, I do know that there's going to be a shit pile, a shitload, a boatload of cheating going on by the Democrats to hold as many seats as they can. And let me ask you this, and this I'll ask you specifically, Uman, what reason have the Democrats given their constituents to go out and vote for them in Congress? It's not a presidential election, so they can't really run against Trump. Of course, they can run against Make America Great Again. They can run against America First Republicans, but they really don't have a reason to go vote. Are they going to vote for more inflation? Are they going to vote for higher fuel and higher food? Are they going to vote for more illegals being bussed up to Washington, D.C.? What reason have they given to vote for Democrats? You can't vote in Supreme Court justices. That decision has now been made. If I quote the leftists, it's now established law, right? No, there was never any tradition or culture or belief by the American people or the American judicial system or the common law system that abortion was something that the government had to accept. No, they just made that shit up. And then they were trying to say, well, it's been around long enough. It's now established. It's established. You can't change that. Well, it was long held for thousands of years, the belief that you don't murder human beings because it's convenient for you. Right? Now, remember this. If you kill a pregnant woman, you'll be charged with 2 murders. 2 murders. Because the government loves to claim that an unborn baby is a victim in a murder. But the same Democrat government will say, well, you're allowed to murder that baby, if you want, if you're the mother. Special rights. Wow. Anyways, Uman, I see your point. It is duly noted. I understand exactly where you're coming from because, well, we've been disappointed so many times. But my disappointment has never been with the American voter, the Republican voters. They have good reason to be very pissed off and disappointed. And why should I turn out the vote? Why should I go out and vote if I'm a Republican, if I'm just going to get another mealy-mouthed, linguini-spined wimp like McCarthy or douchebag McConnell, right, in the Senate? Why should we vote for these guys if they're just going to sell us down the river anyway? Where's my enthusiasm to vote for them? Well, the enthusiasm, folks, is we've got Matt Getz's and Boebert's, and we've got many great people in there working. Senator Paul, Big Marge, they're fighting, folks. They need more support from us. We want them in D.C. fighting so they're not in our front yard with pitches and torches and pitchforks screaming to take our liberties from us. We want the fight in D.C. And that's the best I can do, man. I understand, right, the pessimistic side because we've been disappointed my entire life, disappointed. There's been a few bright spots. President Reagan. The mean tweeter himself was kind of a bright spot. Americans felt proud to be American, except for the radical, liberal, scumbag, socialist left wing, who got in front of the media, and the media was more than happy to show all of their sad faces, all of their tears, all of their hatred for the Constitution. I really believe, folks, that after Election Day, if you're not satisfied with the vote for our country, we're all free to leave. And I think the liberals need to get on a boat, get on a plane, do something and get the hell out of our country. Because it is our country. It belongs to the people, not the government. It belongs to free people, because that's what this country was founded on. the concept and idea that is spread, grown, and now encompasses all people. You have the right to be free. But what are they doing? They're trying to destroy it all, right? The HTF Masters, who are the puppet masters that control the Bidens and the Pelosi's and the upchuck Schumers and the McConnells and the other scumbag rhinos. They're there, right? We need to get those people out of control. We need to tell our people that we're voting in office, get them the hell out of the seats of power and fix this country. And then we can just send all the communists somewhere else. You like communism? Go live in China. Get back to me on how you like that shit. Anyways, Uman, you always get me stirred up with your comments, and I appreciate that much, brother. By the way, Uman is the man behind the rsyndicate.com, a great website that has all the prepper channels, all the prepper websites, whether it's about, well, self-defense, or if it's about growing food, if it's about preserving food, if it's about medicine, if it's about anything prepper, patriot, you'll find it at the rsyndicate.com. And if you need supplies, folks, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, a plan, get over to the preparedmind.club. That's your store. When you buy something there, that helps pay for the website. It pays for the server. It pays for the efforts. It pays the fees. It's your website. Use it if you wish. And for the rest of you who are using it, who are at the preparedmind.club or Subscribestar, I want to thank you for supporting all that we do at the Prepared Mind Network. Folks, we're in it. We're in the SHTF war. It's a process. It's going to get a lot harder, a lot worse. Chance favors the prepared mind. Get yourself prepared and get ready for the fight that's coming. And it's going to be a big, ugly furball. Some people call it Mad Max. We're going to find out exactly what you call it. If you're not ready for it, though, you're going to be, well, shall we say, in a bit of a pickle, in a bind. If you are prepared for it, you're better off than 99% of the country. God bless America. Semper Fi.